we'll open, and call for a motion for closed session.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion for a closed session on the floor. And a second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, hereby go into closed session.
For those of you that are attending via Zoom, our Board of Commissioners are still in closed session, but if I could test the sound from each of you. So maybe start with Ralph, if you can unmute and speak, please. I can hear your background noise. Are you speaking? Ralph, can you hear us? Angel, if you'll unmute, let's try you.
I just texted them to let them know that you're talking to them.
Great, glad yours is working. Thank you. Diane, are you on? Diane, are you on? If so, will you unmute and speak, please? Ralph, I see you're back on and unmuted. Can you try
He
speaking?
says he can't hear you.
You're hearing okay, Amy?
I can hear you fine. Ralph says he can't hear you.
I'm not sure. He's just set up the same way. Diane, have you joined the room?
Can you hear me now, Melissa?
Yes, sir, I can. Thank you. You can mute that.
Good afternoon. welcome citizens and honored guests, if you will. First, I'm gonna have to ask for a motion to come out of closed session pursuant to GS 143-318.11. Legal personnel is, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's on the floor and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, call out a closed session. Now, we'll open up for our regular agenda. First, if you will, Commissioner Owens, would you lead us in the invocation?
Honor. Let's pray. Lord, it is an honor to be here tonight. Lord, what brings us together tonight, Lord, I pray that it's our love for our county, our love for our neighbor. And Lord, our neighbor is your creation, man and woman. And Lord, I pray that your will be done tonight, Lord, that your discernment would be about this county, Lord, that you would give us wisdom, that you would give us strength, Lord, to stand here, Lord, to do something, Lord, that would glorify you, honor our county, and Lord, bring us together. Lord, we are blessed to have a great county. Lord, we are blessed to have a great people. Lord, it's your county, and you've trusted us with it, Lord. And I just ask tonight, Lord, that you would give us, again, the wisdom, discernment, and your will, that all this would be accomplished in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, sir. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been in a closed session. We've been discussing, so do I have a motion to present this to the public from closed session?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda under new business, letter G, that the addition of Confederate monument be added to the agenda, Mr. Chair.
All right. And in closed session, your commissioners. You did, sorry about that, Commissioner. Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none. In closed session, your commissioners. Pardon? We'll bring that up. Wait. All right, to the agenda. Any agenda adjustments? G,
Was that the only one, Natalie?
that'll be under new business, is that right?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none. Agenda is thus approved. Under consent agenda, approval of minutes from June 11, 2020, June 17, 2020, June 30, 2020, July 15, 2020, budget amendments 2 and 3, and the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group broadband resolution.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second. Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
If I may.
One addition, I did see an addition.
Yes, there was an addition that was on your desk, but I do know there were some questions about it. It was the request for refund that was sent to you. Do you want to leave that on the consent agenda, or did you want that to be removed from consent agenda?
Madam County Manager, let's remove that so the commissioners can talk about it. I did see that
Okay.
on mine here. It says customer service refund request.
Okay.
Can that just be brought up here in customer service departmental reports? Okay.
And maybe she's having difficulty, I believe, connecting, so maybe by then she'll be able to have connected.
All right, roger that. Very well. All in favor? Committing to the consent agenda? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, consent agenda is hereby approved. Is she available to the
What,
refund?
that would be under the reports, I believe is what you had been recommended.
Are there nine delegations?
No, there are none.
None? Unannounced delegations.
There's no one signed up, however, I do have a citizen comment that was emailed in. And this is from Beth Ross. She does not provide her address, but she does live in Gates. I am unable to attend the meeting today, but as someone who will be living next door to the proposed fox pen, I wanted to send in some of my concerns. What are the noise levels associated with fox pens? Will there be dogs constantly running? How frequently will they be holding events? Will there be increased traffic in our area? Will the close proximity of this fox pen to our house affect our property values? We spend a lot of time in our yard, gardening, playing ball, or just hanging out. I'm concerned that with no noise or sight barrier, anytime there is an event at the pen, we will be unable to enjoy being outside. We also plan to sell at some point in the future, and I honestly don't see how having this so close to our house won't affect our property values. Thank you for listening to my concerns. Respectfully, Beth Ross.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. Is there anything else coming in, Madam Clerk, or to the county manager? None? All right, county manager's report.
Get to it, please. I was double checking the email, make sure that no one had sent anything else in. This is for July 3rd through July the 21st. Time was spent on conference calls related to COVID-19 with Albemarle Regional Health Services and the North Carolina Pandemic Recovery Office regarding federal COVID funding. On July 15th, Commissioner Hopper and I attended a shredder demonstration at the PCG landfill. The shredder, which costs about $800,000, can shred tires, boats, mattresses, and yard debris finer than what is ground now. All Albemarle Solid Waste Management Authority counties, as well as Pasquotank, were invited to the demonstration. The shredder is being considered as an investment for all counties to utilize because it can move from landfill to landfill. No decision has been made. The OBC Healthcare Foundation COVID-19 grant for $20,000 was submitted and notification will be in September. There was also an email or several emails that had been sent regarding refinancing of the loans for the school system. And if you have any questions, that would be the time to ask Ms. Allen about those as well. Since finance is not listed as a separate report tonight.
Questions for the county manager is pertaining to, those refunds and refinance. Madam Finance Officer, Kim, with, Ms. Allen, would you, anything you want to bring forward?
Okay. There was some confusion when I spoke with the gentleman at the bank about the pre-penalty. When I had asked the question, it was if we paid the loan off early, was there a pre-penalty fee? And that's what he said, and we talked about the legal cost. It wasn't clear that we would have to pay that pre-penalty pay at refinancing and if we paid it early. So we did not budget for an additional cost to refinance with a pre-penalty pay fee right now. So my recommendation that I had sent out to all of you guys once this came to light was to not refinance what we were referring to as the high school loan. That was the one that would be paid off in fiscal year 23. The cost would be too great, that you wouldn't have any savings to do that, but to continue on with the DSS as we had discussed, and with the thought in mind to pay it off early. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody was clear and understood and was okay if we proceeded with just the DSS.
And it makes sense because we're still saving the taxpayers' money in the long run and right now.
And I want to thank Ms. Allen and our county manager too. We discussed it, we had an opportunity to discuss this and toiled over it a little bit and finally came to bear that was the best decision. So just want to let everybody know we had an opportunity to talk about it prior to tonight.
And Ms. Alvin, when you're referring to the school loan, you're referring to the new gym.
Yes, yes. I can give you a piece of good news tonight. We did receive the rest of our Medicaid hold harmless money for fiscal year 20 that we were concerned we would have to pay back. And we did receive a little bit more than what we had anticipated. And our sales tax that we were worried would go down with the COVID has actually, we've done pretty well. We haven't had any decreases. So I'm hoping that once we get the last payment in September for June, that it'll still be up, and hopefully we will still see an increase in fiscal year 21. So we could potentially revisit the budget at a later time.
Is that happening all across the state?
No.
So we're lucky when there was a big issue of potential sales tax revenue loss, and sounds like we're gonna be all right with what we did.
If we have a second wave with the COVID, we'll see how that pans out. But so far, we lucked out. It may be because we were just a smaller county and more people were shopping in our area, or even folks from Virginia coming.
So we need our citizens to go out and spend more money.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you, ma'am. Tax report, Mr. Hill.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You all should have in your packets the tax collector's report for July 2020. We had a pretty good month. We did mail out tax bills on July the 27th, so everybody should have gotten their tax bills in the mail. If not, give us a call. One reminder on that is if you owned the property on January 1st of 2020, you received that bill in the mail. So if you sold that property between January 1st and now, that bill is going to come to the owner as of January 1st. So you need to get with your closing attorney, or you call our office to see who that was sold to or transferred to, so you can work that out with the person who bought the property. Response has been good since the bills went out. So far, we have collected right over $410,000 this month, just in 3.5 weeks since the bills have come out. I don't have any refund requests for the month. Any questions?
How is the motor vehicle prices coming in? I know they've been delayed.
Yeah, we haven't really seen that big of a decrease. Most folks are went ahead and getting their inspections and renewing their tags. That's good.
I did see in the paper today, they are closing some of those motor vehicle offices.
I think, was it 60?
I believe it was. I sent that to all the county employees and to the commissioners, as well as posted it on Facebook. Ahossie and Elizabeth City are in reduced hours, even to this place.
And I think you have to have appointments too.
Right,
Right.
that's right.
Any questions, commissioners? Hear none.
Thank you, Chris.
Bill?
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Good job.
Departmental reports.
It appears that Ms. Hendricks has joined so that you can ask the question about the customer service refund.
Refund.
Yes.
Everyone had an opportunity to look at that. if you haven't, take a look. I did get your email earlier, and I had an opportunity to look at it prior to this meeting. And it was a substantial amount. I think that may have what triggered.
Diane? Diane?
Maybe underwater.
Are you there?
Does anybody else have an answer to this equation?
It is a water department.
She's only connected, it just shows she's muted. It won't let me unmute.
You need to unmute yourself. You sent her a message.
Is Madam Clerk?
If you have she just said she can't, but what is your question about why this person is getting a refund?
And that,
Yeah, why, did he request it, did he request me to put it in, or they just put it in, or why is it?
yeah, I did not understand it. It's a good question, Commissioner Hopper. I too felt the same way because I thought that was.
If we can't get her connected, I called and asked the question myself. I don't want to answer for her, but
Then we want to table this until we can talk with her.
well, I asked her the question.
No, you did?
And the answer was that the citizen came in and paid the $1,250, but the house is way off the road, and came back and realized that it was going to cost a lot of money for his own plumbing part to tie it into the meter. So he came back in and asked for a refund.
Do we know what his alternative is? Is he gonna put in a well? Is that,
He would have.
He would have to.
This is from what I understand, this is a road that also, if I remember correctly, now that I look at the name of the road, and I saw it earlier today in another message.
Scott's Lane.
It has a HOA, I believe, associated with it as well, but the county, because of where it's located, the county would have to put it out closer to, it's off Daniels Road. So therefore, excuse me? I don't know about that part.
I think it is.
It's in Corpeka area.
It's in the Fort Pickett area.
It's off Daniels.
it's already been installed?
No, he did not want it installed.
Okay, and James, you paid the
Okay,
fee.
that's the thing. Or he has paid the money, but not just one.
Once he found out, according to Ms. Hendricks today on the phone, he found out how much it was going to cost for his own plumber. He came back and requested a different, that he be refunded.
Do we have any cost in the matter at this point?
No, if they've not done anything,
Okay.
then it's not cost,
Was there
the
probably
water
a permit
department has
fee?
something else.
Was there a permit fee in this? or
No, this is the actual cost of the actual meter.
Cost of the meter itself, so you had to pay the permit, you had to pay the fee. the
That
permit.
would be a separate fee.
Okay.
This is only coming from customer service.
Commissioner Jones, were you satisfied with what you learned when you talked with the water department?
Yes, sir, 100%. And would make a motion, if pleasure of the board. I'll make a motion that we refund the $1,250. It doesn't have a refund number, so to citizen Mr. Scott.
Second motion.
There's a motion and a second. Yes, ma'am.
If I may, if I can type. Ms. Hendricks says she's unmuted. And she said she can hear us. We can't hear you.
Zoom still shows her X through the microphone.
And our Zoom shows that you are unmuted. So since you said that you can hear us, is what has been conveyed correct? If you can just text me back, please, if that's okay with the board.
The wonders of modern technology.
And I have it all right here if you need to see it.
And we do have a motion and a second on the floor. So,
She said, yes, that is correct.
if everyone feels satisfied, then there's a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign, hearing none, so be it. Okay, articles of interest.
Mr. Chair, before we jump ahead, I've got a question about one of the departmental reports for the county manager. Building and grounds report, work in progress number 7. Any updates on that? Where the courthouse, judges, chamber, sheriff's office, and jury room bathrooms are still flooding once a month due to paper clogs and bellies in the pipes.
She has not mentioned that any of that has flooded over the past month. Because we talked about, it probably has been about a month and a half ago, we talked about the septic system and the temporary fix was holding, and she said yes, so she has not mentioned that they've had a problem, and no one from that building has called. And it seems like it always happens late afternoon. No one has called me to complain either about it.
Any more issues with the roof?
No, the roof has been fixed at the courthouse, over at that courthouse, right? Once they came back last year, it hasn't been quite a year
I
ago,
was gonna say,
that
yeah.
fixed it,
And we had some insurance issues too, correct on that. Those things.
right?
Anything?
Mr.
Any other-
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm on the Alcohol Commission, and they are, I know everybody's concerned about broadband, and they are working to bring information to the counties. They have talked to CenturyLink, and the president of CenturyLink, Mike Irvin, has talked to him because CenturyLink serves a lot of us. They also talked to there is a new system coming out, it's called ghosting technology, where you can put antennas on towers and it can go through trees and doesn't interfere with the signal. So they're going to give us an all report tomorrow night, but they're working to try and figure out what they can do to help the counties come up with some sort of alternatives or helping us get better broadband.
Excellent.
So they're doing some research.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, and just to also add to that, we have in our packet, and we did that on consent agenda, the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group. Mr. Sears brought that to me, and he and I discussed that, and that's 23 counties that are in support of broadband, particularly with all our students, all our kids that are without either the computer itself or internet access. So thank you, Mr. Sears, and we have recognized that.
Mr. Chairman, yes, sir. I'd like to draw attention to the building grounds report. Number 4 and number 7. Commissioner Jones just mentioned it. I'd like to see a solution to that. I'd like for the county manager to make sure the building grounds finds a solution. That's not good.
You're talking about number 4 and 7, or
Yeah.
4 through 7? I want to make sure I understood.
Now, 4 and 7.
Okay,
I mean, both dealing with the septic tank
Right.
issue. Yeah, we need to get that. There's plumbing is not that complicated. It can get expensive. We need to get that resolved and find out what the fix is.
well, if you might recall from the February budget meetings, there was a recommended fix for the one at the courthouse, which was could cost several $100,000, depending on the extent once they got into it. The one at the health department, they are still trying to figure that one out, and they have worked with the health department itself. Mr. McDougal has been out there, offered advice and suggestions, and they have had, I believe, 2 other people out there at various times to do things. And this is still an ongoing issue from, I believe it was 2 years ago when they redid all of the lines at the health department.
How many years ago?
I believe it was 2 years ago, all the lines were redone at the health department.
Anyway, if we could get some you know, and I appreciate the county manager giving us the information there. I don't know if, you know, if we need some professional to come talk to us or what, but I think we need to put those on the fast track.
Very well, Commissioner Owens. I think that's well in line with what we do need to do, and maybe we can direct the county manager to advise all of us via email exactly what the progress is and what the expense is. Thank you. Any other interest there? We got the county calendar, and I'm sure all of us have looked at that. Public hearing, there is none.
And if I may, for the notes of interest, you do have I believe it's the one, fire department report, and there was another one that came in, and it will be included in next month's packet.
Excellent. Thank you, ma'am. All right, we'll go on to new business. First item, PCG convenience site. And I believe that, I've read some emails, correct? Commissioner Jones has some questions, want to make some comments about it.
And Angel White and Ralph Hollowell are on the Zoom call.
Very well.
All right.
Good evening, if y'all are with us. We can't see you, we might be able to hear you.
Can they respond back, Melissa? Okay. I've got excuse me, a list of questions we've talked over the last few months. I've asked some questions and now going to formally ask some questions. Who is on the call now? Can they introduce themselves and their positions?
Yes, whenever.
Hey, I'm Angel White, and I'm the landfill manager for PCG.
Ms. White, and some of my other commissioners might know this, but I appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight. The first question is, how were Tuesdays chosen to be the close dates sites?
That was chosen prior to me coming. I've only been with PCG for 3 years. Ralph may be able to answer that, but I do know that the 3 counties have the 3 days, 3 different days. They're staggered. And one of the reasons they are staggered are to allow, we have a limited number of resources, and it allows us to clean out the sites better. And it also allows us to do work in the sites because we do have such a small staff, and it allows us to work in each county separately when they're closed.
To continue, you said clean out their own days, or just in general. What is the process for getting, it's a 2-part question, maybe 3. I'm not good in math. What's the process for getting the dumpsters emptied at each site? When are the dumpsters empty, the days and times?
Okay, so what we do is every day we go through and we do what we call readings. So we call all 13 sites that are out of the sites that are open. So Monday and Fridays, we call 13 sites twice a day and find out what's in every site. And we have our regular contracted drivers. We have 3 drivers who pick up from the sites. So each driver can pick up 7 cans. They pick up 1 on the way from Bertie, and they take 1 back to Bertie with them. And they pick up 5 during the day that they bring in to PCG. We make the schedule based on what are in the sites. And then we And this is throughout every day we do this. So when gate sites are closed Tuesday, it allows us to get more, focus more on Chowan and Perquimans on Tuesday, so that we can get more out of gates on Wednesday when they open back up. I'll be really honest, after the weekends, especially since we've been having a lot of people staying home due to COVID, Monday is just trying to give everybody just a little bit of relief.
So to clarify, the dumpsters are not emptied on the days that the counties are closed. So like yesterday,
Well,
to the dump this morning.
we can go into gate site and sometimes the one on Water Plant Road. And we do go into that one sometimes on Tuesday, but we are unable to send trucks into the ones at Reduca, Hobbsville, and Sunbury because of it's hazardous for them to get in and out of the site when the site's closed because of the location being on a busy highway and the truck cannot fit all the way in the driveway. So if they were to try to enter the driveway, they would be sticking out into 32 or 158.
And the reason I asked, I had someone ask me this question. I didn't know. And that was my initial question of how it was chosen. The statement was made, why can't our trash sites be closed on Fridays so that they're empty for the weekend? Because there's been a lot of complaints that I know I've heard and from my fellow commissioners have also heard that with COVID, people have been home a lot more than they have. Everybody's been doing spring cleaning for a long time. So some sites are getting full on the weekends. So the statement was, if the sites were closed on Friday instead of Tuesday, would that not possibly alleviate your attendance getting fussed at or, over the weekend having to turn people away because their dumpsters are full? Do you have any thoughts on?
Well, you could close them on Fridays and it would perhaps help some, with Perquimans being closed on Thursday. And honestly, we do clean out Perquimans sites on Thursday while they're closed if it's necessary to try to free up trucks so that we can get things out of sites like Gate site and Sunbury site, the ones that are busier on Fridays. But a lot of the issue comes in when, Friday morning we call the sites or we pick up everything out of the sites on the way in Friday morning. We'll go ahead and empty all those cans. And then, by 2 o'clock, they're full again. And there's no way we can empty them again before the end of the day. The truck drivers have to be back in Bertie County by 5 o'clock to dump.
So if we were closed on Fridays, they were picked up on Thursdays, they wouldn't necessarily be starting fresh Saturday morning at 7 o'clock. But you're saying that not necessarily every one of our sites are picked up on Friday. Is that correct?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Not a problem. How many sites do you have? The sites in Gates County, you said there's 7 picked up per day. So
There's 21 cans per day picked up at least. We have 3 drivers and each driver picks up 7 cans. Now we pick up whatever's out there that needs to be picked up. It doesn't necessarily mean that Gates gets 7 cans. If Gates has more cans than the other county, that's what gets picked up.
And you said that's based off of you call the sites twice a day. 13
We call the sites at 7 a.m. and they tell us everything that they have in their site, whether it's empty, a quarter full, or all the way full. They give us what we call readings, so it gives us a picture of what's in the site. And we do that at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. The 7 a.m. is where we make our initial list, and the 1 p.m. is where we make any adjustments that might need to be made.
All right. We're part of PCG. The PNC have winter months. Gates County doesn't have winter hour months. Any thoughts on that? Is it beneficial to your folks? Is it a cost savings that the P and the C have that we don't? Do you have thoughts on that, Angel?
People like it, some people don't. Some of the attendants like it because they don't enjoy working in the dark, because it is very dark in those sites in the wintertime. Some don't like having their hours cut because they're elderly and they're on fixed incomes. As far as the community members, a lot of community members in Perquimans and Chowan don't like it because they can't make it to the site before 5 o'clock. So if I didn't work at the landfill, I would never take my trash off during the winter time, except for on the weekends, which, you know, is obviously already a problem with the trash sites filling up on the weekends. As far as cost savings, I did do an analysis, you know, and I based it on $9 an hour. Site attendants earn from $9.01 an hour to the lead attendants earn $9.68 an hour. So just for simple math, I based it on $9 an hour, since only 25% of them would earn more than that. If you were to go to winter hours, you would only save about $7,000 for that 19 weeks.
Do you know off the top of your head the amount each county citizen pays in the other counties, Angel?
In Chowan County, it's $14 a month, which is $168 a year. And in Perquimans, it is $140 per year. But they are both considering going up on that.
And Commissioner Hoffler stated August 7th, 2019 in our meeting that the solid waste was operating with a deficit, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Are you aware? Can you elaborate on that any by chance, Angel?
I'm sorry, there was a little bit of vibration in your mic. I didn't quite catch all that.
Well, it was referenced last year that at one time our
Natalie, I'm not catching any of what you're saying.
it does not refer to the PCG
Okay.
budget, it was in reference to our budget, and that's the
Okay.
reason we increased the landfill fee.
So when Commissioner Hoffler stated that we were hundreds of thousands of dollars in the red, that was because of,
Whenever the bills went monthly, there were some people who were billed quarterly and did not pay their landfill.
so hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I don't have the exact number with me, but we've got it somewhere that. Right.
Yeah, well, I was quoting you on that August 7th, 2019 meeting, because you're on the PCG board. So hundreds of thousands of dollars in a deficit is very concerning. So that's why I didn't know, with us going up to $20 and it being on the tax bill, if that was helping us come out of that so that we don't have to go up again for the
Right.
citizens.
Right, we didn't have a problem last year when it switched back to the tax bill.
And that was the whole premise for putting it on.
And my last question, Angel, for you. I think this is something that has been thrown around in the past. I'm not sure if it was Commissioner Owens, I'm not sure if it was you, but citizens have had issues of people with out-of-state license plates visiting our sites.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure how PNC if they have that issue, since they're not really on the border like we are. I think that, I don't know if it was Jack or whoever mentioned a sticker, going to some kind of process to try to stop non-taxpayers in Gates County being able to use our trash sites. And I know that people rent, some people don't own, some people drive work vehicles, and they're gonna have out-of-state tags, so you can't stop everybody. But we don't want to put one of the attendants in harm's way. But I do know that I've heard from some attendants and a number of citizens that they've seen Virginia license plates. And I don't think it's the attendant's place to call out citizen while they're dumping, using the landfill. But do you have any opinion on that or anything that could maybe alleviate that?
That would have to be something that the commissioners decide upon. Honestly, that's y'all's call. That's something in the past that I think has been discussed before, because we enforce your solid waste ordinances is what we do at the sites. And so, as you said, there are a lot of people that come in there that have out-of-state plates who actually own property in Gates County, or they actually live there, just haven't changed their tags for whatever reason. And the site attendants, they can't police that. That's not really what they're there for. There would have to be some other method of, ensuring that the right people are using the sites. So, and Natalie and I talked about that, in order to even look at cutting some of your costs, your out-of-state dumping and your commercial contractors using your sites are probably your first two places that you need to look, because it is an issue in Gates County.
Do either of the other counties have any kind of sticker or anything like that, Angel?
They do not.
I don't in my travels.
I mean, there are across North Carolina. Yes, there are counties that do pay to dump, and there are ones that use sticker systems, ones that use bag systems. It's something that I could research.
I was just curious. I didn't think Perquimans and Chowan did.
But no, they don't have the issue with the out of state. You see people, in Perquimans, you probably see more. I see more myself in Perquimans with out of state, people who have houses down maybe Holiday Island, Snug Harbor, and the plantation area, and even though the plantation has pickup, we have a lot of recycles come in out of there. So things like that, but we just don't have the volume of it coming in that Gates County does.
Do you hear that from your attendants ever in meetings or with them?
At the sites all the time.
I said 3 questions ago that was going to be my last question, so I'm just going to thank you for all your answers. I don't want to ask you anything else.
Close, didn't know it moved. Anyone else have any questions? If not, thank you, Ms. White. Appreciate it. Is Ms. Howell on there too? Has he spoken?
He's on, if you'd like to speak.
Any questions for Ms. Howell? Yes, pertaining. Would like just to comment, is what I recall as pertaining to Ms. Commissioner Hoffler's comments as pertaining to the loss and the gain for solid waste. If I'm not mistaken, that was during the time that both the bill was split, and there were many, many homes who did not pay any solid waste. They only paid the water bill. It was on, all of it was on one bill. Am I correct about that?
It was the quarterly bills that more times than not were not paid.
All right. So, and a lot of our homes in Gates County do not have water. So if they don't pay the water bill, then they did not pay the solid waste bill. However, they're using solid waste. So that may answer some questions if you had questions like that.
I think there's 4,100-ish houses, and I think 225 had wells. I think from my previous notes, close, give or take a couple.
Very well. Thanks, sir. All right, any other questions, or comments? 2018 CDBG housing concerns.
In your package, you have information from Mike Barnett, who is also with us tonight, so that he can address the concerns that some of you might have with the process for this program.
Roger that. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Barnett, good evening.
Thank you. It's good to be with you tonight. In early August, Natalie had contacted me to get a status of your 2008 CDBG NR program. And that's a program that's going to replace 4 homeowners' properties. In your package, I think you have that status that I provided. And I wanted to be here to, instead of on the telephone, be here in person to answer any questions you might have or any explanations you might need pursuant to that schedule.
Mike, I hate to ask you, but could you speak a little bit closer to the mic if you don't mind?
I'll be glad to.
We hear you, but our people online.
Is this better?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, if, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I've had somebody reach out to me that had some concerns. Can you, since everybody didn't have this sheet of paper in front of them right now, like 6 of us do, can you tell where we're at with that from 2018?
In general, right now, we have started the land surveys on all the properties. The groundwork's been done on all 4. Surveys on 2 of them are complete. One of them has a line issue we're trying to work out. The other, I'm told to be through by the middle of next week. We also have been working on developing the specification documents for the replacement homes. And that's a document that we'll send out in various sizes and various designs to get prices from modular home dealers. In other words, it's the procurement quote bidding that we'll be doing. And we hope to get our bids and prices by September 30th. Then during the month of October, hope to bring to you award recommendations on which modular home dealers will be working with which property owners. The next thing that happens is we begin a temporary relocation process. And that typically can take 30 to 45 days because when we demo a house, obviously they can't live there. We also have to take their property and their ownings, the belongings, that kind of thing, and put those in storage or put those into a container, whichever one they request. We have demolition of the existing home. Construction of the new home typically takes about 120 days. And that process starts when we know that the home will be delivered from the manufacturer. So that can't have a specific date, but that's a 4-month window that we have as we move forward.
And it's a 36-month grant, is that right?
It's a 36-month grant, and the grant is scheduled to close out the middle of November of 2021. So we've got about 15 more months.
You anticipate them being done before November of
Yes, sir.
2021? Now, there was 4 houses, 4 citizens chosen, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And I think you said at a previous meeting in the other courthouse that they'd be revetted or something to make sure that there was no changes or something like that. Were all 4 same? I think somebody questioned it or something at that meeting, Mike.
I think the county attorney has gone through and done title research on each one of the properties. And that research showed that they were indeed property owners. That's one of the vetting issues. We've gone back and done income verification, and they still meet the income verification process. So they ended up being true to what they said, and which is always nice.
So we're almost to the point of demolition.
The next thing is the procurement of the houses, presentation of those to the homeowners, and then award back before this body.
So those 4 people are definitely gonna, at this point, there's no turning back, is that right?
They can back out anytime they want to, but I have met with each family, each individual, I think on June 30th, and kind of set their expectations on what would be happening to them and for them, so they would understand a little bit what was going on.
Thanks, sir.
Mike, I've certainly had quite a few questions from one of the people. And it was a lady, and she is excited and appreciated the contact. She asked me pretty often about it in the past.
Well, you know, sometimes you think it's too good to be true,
Yeah.
and you're quite anxious. And when you wait for it to happen, when you know it is still true. So we run into that quite a bit with anticipation and just hoping things don't change.
I would like to say that I'm very appreciative of this update because we were wondering, and the citizens, and especially the 4 members of the county that had been selected, and their families were concerned that they had not received, in their mind, updates. So when we have updates such as this, it puts them to rest and their families. So I appreciate you coming by and plus giving us written documentation of the timeline.
Glad to.
And we look forward to talking to you again very soon.
I should be back in a couple of months.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Hoffman, anything?
No, it's just wonderful that we have, because we have so many people in substandard homes that we can replace for.
And hopefully it's just a start. So.
Yeah, but I believe that it's just a start, but you have to start somewhere.
That's true.
Thank you, ma'am. I do, as far as that, have one question that some of my colleagues here, fellow commissioners have asked. Where is the monies? Where are the monies kept?
I think they would be at the U.S. Treasury.
It's over 600,000, is that correct?
That's $750,000. And we have the county has a grant contract, correct, Mr. Manager? We have a grant contract with the state of North Carolina. The state of North Carolina's funds actually come from HUD. So those contractual things are in order, and they won't let Natalie draw much interest off of them because she has to spend it within 3 days. We can't keep it here.
And we actually do not have the money. We are going to requisition the money. Otherwise, we as the county have to pay the bill, and then can have to be reimbursed. And we knew we were not in a financial situation to do that. So we had the option of, once Mr. Barnett sends us an invoice, we immediately process it, send it to Raleigh. Raleigh processes it, sends it to us, and then within 3 days, we have to write a check to pay that invoice.
Actually, some of my colleagues here have asked me that. I didn't have an answer, so now I do.
And there's not a budget ordinance yet because we've been waiting to create it once we got to this point because we've not wanted to pull that same budget ordinance forward for the past year when we've not spent any money.
All right. Any other questions, comments, commissioners? None?
Thank you all.
Thanks, sir.
Next, the Fox Pen issue.
Yes, today, there's been many questions asked about what can the county do.
Natalie, you need closer to the mic.
You can't pull it too far because
I know.
Linda's got a lot of slack. We want to move it this way.
I'm fine. I've been asked, and I know the commissioners have been asked, what can the county do in regards to Fox pens? And today, Adam Lovelady, who's an associate professor of public law and government, and who specializes in planning and zoning and land use, provided an answer to Lisa Cherry, our planner, that I will read. It says, with regard to licensing for fox hunting preserves, that does appear to be handled by the state, likely preempting local licensing requirements. With regards to regulating the land use, that is a separate question, but it may fall under the bona fide farm exemption. As you know, bona fide farm activities are exempt from county land use regulations. Agritourism and agritourism buildings are included under the broad umbrella of bona fide farm activities. This year, the General Assembly amended the definition of agritourism to include hunting, and this is in Section Law 2020-18, Section 5. With that, it seems likely that operating a licensed fox hunting preserve will qualify under the bona fide farm exemption, and county land use regulations will not apply.
Any questions, comments, commissioners?
Natalie, if you, could you restate that, if you don't mind, the bottom of page 1? And so that anybody that's listening online or here could write that down.
I'm not sure what you're referencing.
Right.
That's page 1, but are you talking about
Right, right
the
at the
session
very-
law?
Session.
Okay, it's session law 2020-18, section 5. I'm reading from email, so it's not on pages.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And you can find, if you go to ncleg.gov, up on the right-hand corner, there's a search engine. And if you type in SL 2020-18, section 5, that should pull up this law.
Mr. Chairman, I will just make a statement. Had a conversation last night over the phone with a nice lady who was concerned about this issue. And she was very concerned, but she was very, she was knowledgeable about the situation. And the end of our conversation is basically, in layman's terms, is what Natalie has just stated for us, is that when you're dealing with something like this, you have to deal with the party who has the authority to make any decision on it. And that's why I had Natalie restate the session law and the ncleg.gov, which is going to be on the website, like again in the top right corner, and you can find more information. And that, you know, when someone has authority, then that's the party that you appeal to for whatever your decision or your wish might be. And just on a side note, we ended with a good conversation about the topic. Thank you, Natalie.
Commissioners, any comments, concerns?
I too have been receiving phone calls and communications about the fox pens in the neighborhood. And we received this afternoon as far as who regulates and the statute. So when I read this, it's very clear. And we knew, I think we all knew that, you know, by reading the information that's been given to us by the citizens and all those such as the young lady that called you, that we were looking at who regulates, who permits fox pens. And now we know that we don't permit, we don't license, we don't have any authority according to the statute to regulate these fox pens. My comment is that I want to make it clear that you have to follow the law, you have to follow the statute. That said, I'm saying that Gates County is aware of the issues of the fox pens. We know people have private property and they have the right to develop that property or sell that property and to do what's lawful. I would hope that we could be good neighbors and make sure that we become good neighbors and stay good neighbors until we can, you know, figure out how to be good neighbors. Don't let this become so divisive. But when you're looking at the law of North Carolina and what we have done in Gates County, the commissioners, this board of commissioners, we don't have leeway to change the statute. We don't have leeway to address it. So I hope going forward, we can just look at being good neighbors and see what we can do to be good neighbors in the future. Ms. Hoffler and I have talked about this. She even gave me some other documentation today when I walked into this courthouse. So we are concerned. We have looked at it. We've done our due diligence. And the county manager and the planning director, they're sitting over there in the corner. That's why she's here. We charged them to find out or look at, research what it is that's going on, the history, and now we know. So I just hope we can be good neighbors and continue to be concerned, continue to work legally and as good neighbors with each other in Gates County.
I'd like to add,
Anything else?
I'd like to add to the good neighbor comment. You know, the people who live there in the area naturally are the ones that have the most concern and are expressing their opinion about it. I would recommend that a spokesperson come out of that community and approach Mr. Hale, Mr. Danny Hale, who's one of the partners in there, and see if there's some concession or something that he might be willing to do to make it a more neighborly situation. And that's just a comment. And that's part of being neighborly is speaking to your neighbor and seeing how can we resolve this. Because the statute that Raleigh has is not in favor of the people that live in the community that are voicing their opinion about not wanting it there. It's not in your favor. So I think that your best chance at getting some resolution would be trying to resolve it in a good neighbor manner.
Thank you, Commissioner Owens. Any other comments?
I just concur with what all two commissioners have stated. We have looked at it and researched it, and we don't have the power to do anything. It is the Wildlife Commission as well as the state laws, general statutes.
Thank you, ma'am. And might I say that all the commissioners, all of us, if I may, we've all studied not only what the Wildlife Commission has given us, everything else. We've learned a lot about fox pens. So thank you for bringing this up to us. We see the good and we see something that's concerning others. And a lot of times you just draw a line right down a piece of paper, if you will, write all the good on one side and all the bad on the other side. You see how it adds up. But what really adds up and what's impressed me, and Commissioner Owens just touched on it, so did Commissioner Riddick and Hoffman, and that is that everyone that has brought this forward have really are friends. They're all in the community. They all hang together and they're all working together, maybe in two different directions. However, they are working to try to realize what is going on and what fox pen is and what can either relieve it or not. So I thank y'all for doing it. We see that. We've had you up in front of us. So thank you for bringing it to us. Anything else? And thank you, Madam County Manager, for doing the research and letting us know as we study it that we have no authority, of course, and that all the authority lies with the North Carolina Wildlife Commission. So.
I was going to make a comment. We just tied with the lead with the number of fox pens in the state with Craven County. We have 8.
And I'd like to thank Lisa Cherry, because she's the one who reached out to the attorneys at the School of Government.
Thank you, Madam County Manager, and Lisa's been a great deal of help. She and I have talked more than she probably ever wanted to talk to me. So, so thank you too, Ms. Cherry. All right, we'll move on. The planning board appointment.
Yes.
So we have those in here.
Yes, you have those in the packet. Don't know if Ms. Cherry has anything that she wants to say regarding the planning board appointment. Do you have anything you want to say?
The only thing I have to say is we had someone that had to resign from the planning board after we actually, I think, went through the nominations and appointing the members during a scheduled time that's done each year. And we want to thank him for his service. It was Mr. Chris Odom, and he just had some conflicts. So I was very pleased to have him. We appreciate the volunteerism that comes along with it, as well as them being there and taking the issues at hand very seriously. They work really hard, and I just hope that we're able to appoint someone that wants to be there and would love to be there, because we appreciate that very much in their service. But other than that, it's good. We look forward to having anyone that would be appointed tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Cherry. Yes, sir.
We only have one position that's open. And that position is for a period of less than a year. Whoever we appoint will be serving out the term to May 31st, 2021. And I'd like to make a recommendation in the form of a motion. Talk with some of my other colleagues here around the table. And, we try to hit all areas of the county so that there's good representation. We try to have diversity. And I'm going to make a recommendation on a lady tonight. But I also want to say these other names that we see in front of us, these names are names that we've seen before, again, not just on this board, but for other things. So we thank them for their desire to serve. Unfortunately, we only have one spot. And I think to continue the distribution across the county and to continue to try to have diversity, I want to make a motion that we appoint Mary Alice Lacey, and she'll be serving from the Ewer area.
I second the motion.
Is that, you gonna put that in the form of a motion,
So
sir?
a form of motion.
I have a question. How many females are on the planning board?
None.
None.
And that has not always been the case. I served on the planning board, we always had at least 2 of the members were women. And somehow we've gotten away from that. So I think it's time for it to have another female.
Mr. Chair, we're up for discussion, correct?
Sir?
We're in discussion.
Yes.
I have a procedural question. Last time we had this situation, we talked about it for 30 minutes because my nomination was not made correctly in the Emergency Operations Center. Y'all went about 27 different ways of trying to stop my recommendation, if I remember correctly.
I remember.
I know you do. It was your fault trying to stop me. Does the floor have to be open for nominations before you can make your nomination?
You're correct, sir.
Okay. So your motion in the second don't count.
Mr. Chairman, I withdraw my nomination. Not my eloquent delivery, but just a nomination.
I can quote that meeting too if you need me to.
Then the floor will be open for nominations. And as those nominations appear, they will make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, if you open the floor for nomination. Yes, sir. I'd like to nominate Mary Alice Lacey.
Any other nominations?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we close the nominations.
I'll second his motion.
Nominations, there's a motion to close the nominations and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none? So be it.
Now we need to vote.
Now, the motion, right?
I think we voted.
I think
to close it.
Well,
We close the motion.
So now we're opening the motion. You make the motion.
Now you're supposed to call the vote.
Call for the vote.
All right, okay, call the vote. Call the vote for the one nominee? Yeah. All right. Let's just do it in unison. Yeah, all in favor of Mary Alice Lacey being the nominee for the planning board? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none? So be it.
Thanks, sir.
And I must say that I knew Mary Alice, I went to school with her. She was in my class. So. All right, EMS board, I believe is next.
Yes, they're in your packet. The term is expiring for 2 people, and there were 3 applications that were received. And you also have the Gates County Rescue and EMS bylaws, which does talk about Article 5, Section 2, which is page 2 of that document. It talks about how positions are to be filled. And they've talked about how 2 seats are up for appointment and they are at the gates in your district.
Do we need to do them one by one or?
I think we should hear about the bylaws.
Well,
That was
that's the
on the-
section that applies to this, that there are 2 seats up for appointment. They are Gates and Ure, and I've always worked hard to maintain the voting district representation, and therefore Gates and Ure are the 2 positions that are up for reappointment. And 2 of the 3 applications are from people in those areas.
I think we can do both of them together. Because the 2 that are from Gates and Ure.
Have been serving on the board.
Good while.
Any other discussion as pertaining to that? Okay, do them together. Commissioner Hopper
I'll
suggests,
make a motion that we reappoint Ray Felton from the Ure and Don Gregory from Gates.
is there a second?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion and a second to appoint Ray Felton and Don Gregory to the EMS board. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, so be it. Then we have an ad hoc committee to honor Commissioner Henry Jordan.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
we lost Mr. Jordan last year in the month of December. At that time, in our next meeting, we requested, or we learned that someone has been died for a year, before you can do anything. But we would like, to honor him with maybe the DOT with like a portion of a highway or something, but we need to form a committee to get started on applications and the process as a process.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, and we all wish to honor that. Is Dr. Odom here tonight?
No, it's not.
He's not here. I think he brought that to the board's attention, did he not? So Commissioner Hopper's following up with that. So any recommendations on the ad hoc committee from commissioners? How many want to serve?
I was going to say Commissioner Riddick was the one that brought it to our attention. If she would,
I would agree to chair the ad hoc committee.
Very well. And so Dr. Riddick will chair that committee, and I'm sure that you might thank Dr. Odom with that committee.
Mr. Chairman, I would, a couple comments have been made pertaining to naming a section of a road after him. I'd like to just comment on that. I'd like for that committee to not be boxed into that being what they're only focused on, giving them leeway. That was a recommendation, but if they see another way to honor Commissioner Jordan, that the committee had to say, that they're not confined to it being a highway, it could be something different.
Well made. So our ad hoc committee chaired by Dr. Riddick will look at all avenues as far as honoring Commissioner Jordan in the best fashion.
so is Commissioner Riddick going to be the ad hoc chair and committee herself? You got it all, Commissioner Riddick.
I will make sure that at the next meeting in September that I have solicited citizens who want to serve on the committee. It's not going to be a large committee, about 3 or 4 people, and people of broad backgrounds, representative of the county. I'll strive to do that.
When is 1 year?
December.
I was going to say, I knew it was in December. I wasn't sure.
There's a lot of paperwork has to be done, documentation, so we can start the process. By January, we'll be able to submit and have broad input from the citizens as well.
Thank you for serving the commission.
Thank you, Dr. Riddick, and that does come with being the youngest member. So thank you, ma'am. It's not just we. try
How do you
to-
mean that, youngest member?
Congratulations.
You welcome.
All right, and then we added G, and that is our comments that we made and discussions it's been ongoing with the commissioners in various avenues and with our county attorney, seeking advice of others, certainly seeking his best advice. And coming out of closed session, we wanted to bring to the attention an open agenda. The Gates County Board of Commissioners have agreed to appoint an ad hoc committee to thoroughly research issues surrounding the future of the Confederate monument in Gates County, which the committee will report to our commissioners at the next regular scheduled meeting in September. That's September 2020. And, all right, yes, sir.
The rules of procedure is we're going by what's in the handout.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And that's under whole business, ready to attack it.
I hate to kick the can, but I had some questions for Melissa that I didn't get to ask her about. I don't know, and I hate that I missed the last meeting, and as well as Commissioner Owens. But anybody have any issues with putting this off till next month?
Putting out the rules and procedures.
Putting off the rules and procedure till next month? If Melissa's okay with that. I know Dylan has gone back to school. I think he helped you with that, but we didn't get our schedules didn't work out. I'd like to ask her some questions before I brought it to you guys, if the board is okay with that and Melissa's okay with that.
I don't have an objection with that. That's fine. If you think there's several questions or some back and forth discussions, this is a topic we can always do a work session on.
It's setting precedent, for the future.
Yeah. Any constraints on time as pertaining?
No, sir. The rules and procedures was just a document that was going to be put in place to help the board be consistent throughout all of the meetings. There were some questions from various board members, how we've handled things in the past versus how we've handled things recently. Is there a right or a wrong? And a lot of stuff comes to the agreement of the board. So there is not a time frame. It's at the discretion of the board. Obviously, the sooner you act on it, the more consistent you can be. If you will, before the next meeting, look through, there are several items that have or statements. So I've given options, and the board needs to be ready to decide on which one of those options you wish to have put in.
Wonderful. Yeah, we looked at that, a lot of material. Some of it is very explainable. Some of it's a little difficult.
And I think we went over some, you talked to us last time about the options we had.
Thank you, ma'am. It was brought to my attention by the county manager that maybe we skipped citizens' comments. We really didn't because unannounced delegations and everybody has an opportunity to sign up and or speak. But it was brought to my attention here that I'd like to know if they've been ignored and not allowed to comment on Fox Bend. That was the time to have done that when we have those delegations. The commissioners have any thoughts or comments as pertaining to whether we should jump from our rules and allow that at this stage? Commissioner, pardon?
I've got us at commissioner comments.
Pardon?
So we're at commissioner comments.
Yeah, but I mean, to allow the citizens that want to speak, that feel like they were ignored. Because we'll be going off the agenda, I realize. So I am polling my dear commissioners.
We're quiet, aren't we?
Very quiet, very quiet.
I'll speak first. The county manager read a statement the school of government, our legal authority has spoken. We have no authority over Fox Pens. Unfortunately or fortunately, with whether what side of the table you sit on it. If we do it for this item, we'll have to do it for every item going forward. And we didn't make a decision tonight, so nobody can come up and question our decision. We just went by what the school of government told the county manager and the planning director.
And I do want to reiterate is we did not ignore, we called for each, announced allegations and unannounced, and that's what it is, to assign up a sheet. And, so do have an opportunity at that stage. However, Mr. Ritter, any comments?
No comment.
Mr. Hoffman? Mr. Owens? I'm good. Okay, that being the case, then, we did have the opportunity to discuss that when we went to unannounced allegations. Therefore, that's not on the agenda.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
before we enter commissioner comments, the general statute allows us to amend the agenda at any time, correct? I would like, if the rest of the commissioners would agree, that after commissioner comments and before the adjournment, that we re-enter closed session pursuant to 143, just like we were earlier, before we officially adjourn our meeting.
All right.
And that is allowable. So after commissioner comments, we immediately go into closed session pursuant to general statute 143-318.11A, legal, economic development, real estate, and personnel.
And we would need a motion
And I'll put that in form of a motion, Mr. Chair.
after we finish the comments. Roger.
Or I'll put it in the form of a motion now that, if you're okay with that, after commissioner comments, we enter into the closed session for the items that I just referred to.
I'll second the motion.
All right, motion on the floor and a second, and that is that we go into closed session as soon as commissioner comments are completed.
Before the adjournment, yes, sir.
Roger. All right, there's a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Like sign? Hear none. Go in closed session after commissioner comments. Okay. All right, and since we're going to commissioner comments, and there's already been some comments, we'll start with Commissioner Jones. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Appreciate you coming. I went home and took my suit off, fell out of place tonight, but I put my Gates County Red Barons shirt on for a reason. I don't have, the rest of the shirts I have are t-shirts, and I really didn't feel like that'd be appropriate, but I put the polo shirt on to support our Gates County staff right now. Our school system folks are having a rough time, unprecedented time still. And just thinking about all the school employees, not just the teachers, thinking about the kids and the parents and everybody that's going through what they're going through today. So I'm supporting the Red Barons, but I'm supporting everybody in the school system. Hope everybody has a good night, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Commissioner Owens?
Well, thank everybody for coming out tonight. We do have business to conduct, so Jonathan, afterwards, so I thank you for amending the agenda and putting off the rules and procedure stuff. Again, thank everyone for coming out tonight, and I want to thank everybody in advance for being a good neighbor. And I hope you'll come back and hear what we have to say in our September meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Owens. Commissioner Hoffman?
I do, would like to thank all of you for coming. I would hope that all of us would be good neighbors and have civility in our discussions with each other and try to look for solutions that are agreeable to all sides.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Ridge?
I'm very appreciative to all that have come either in person or on the Zoom or have called in. We're thankful that you take the time out once a month to come and just sit in on these meetings. I'm also appreciative of the contact that I have across the county, especially in the precincts that I serve. I encourage you to vote early. I encourage you to take care of yourself with COVID-19. And I encourage you to continue the conversation, whatever conversation you are having, please be transparent about it. We'll be just as transparent as we can be. And always know we have the best interests of Gates County and every citizen in Gates County. Sometimes things don't work out the way we want them to work out, but you know, if we keep working at it, we can still continue to move Gates County forward, and that's what we're trying to do. So I am appreciative of the attendance tonight, and hopefully and prayerfully we'll be safe, and we'll see you in September.
Thank you, Commissioner Reddick. I too want to thank all the comments that we have gotten from the citizens, all the concerns, and we learned something, and you teach us something. We do take it in consideration, and it all bears on the decisions that we make when we can make decisions. If not, we certainly listen to them, we make notes of it, and all the commissioners are involved in each of the discussions and in each of the decisions that we make. So thank you for those. I do want to comment also that Albemarle Regional keeps us updated at least once a day on the COVID-19. Gates County has had an explosion. I mean, we went from like 27, and now I think we're 51 now, 59.
There's 10 cases today.
10 cases today. Wow. So
10 active cases today.
So we are on an increase, so please be safe and take care. Thank you. We'll stand.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we enter into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 in regards to A3 legal, 4 economic development, 5 real estate, 6 personnel.
Roger, there's a motion on the floor for go to the closed session. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Here none. Stand in closed session. Thank you. was with Melissa, sorry. Okay, she gave me thumbs up. Thank you, Melissa. Madam Clerk, is there a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? So we were
Miss-
in closed session discussing personnel matter. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then wait to do that.
All opposed?